So back in 2020, I made a tier list video ranking all the different iterations of the Joker. And at the time, I had the intention of making another video on the different incarnations of the Batman. I had a tier list already set up and made for the recording, but I just didn't make the video. This was around the time where I just stopped making content for YouTube in general. So this idea that I wanted to do, I never finished it. So let's do it now. All right, so I'm a big fan of Batman. You know, I love Batman. I grew up watching different Batman stuff. Why don't we just take a look at all the different Batman incarnations on film and television and some video games and rank it from just a typical tier maker. There's a little disclaimer. I made this list back in 2020, so there may be some Batman that you think should be here that aren't here, like Robert Pattinson's Batman or Jensen Ackles. I don't like giving things letter grades. I don't think in that way. I like to think in terms of just emotions. And so my ranking here is ranging from great to good to okay to need some work to not great. And just so you know, this is all my personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's okay. So why don't we get started here? Okay, looks like the first thing we have here is the Batman from Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. It's a really solid story. This Batman doesn't have a lot of screen time, but the amount that he does have is truly Batman. The writing works really well for him. He acts like Batman. The final confrontation with Owlman is pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the voice work for him, but he has a lot of great writing for the character. So I'll put him in the good tier. Next up, we have Adam West as Batman. I just love Adam West, you know? The 60s Batman was campy and fun. It's very family friendly, and I just really enjoyed watching the ceiling they said it was. Sometimes you just need something lighthearted. This is the Batman that I grew up with. I would watch the TV show for this, and I really love this Batman. So yeah, automatic great. Next up, we have the Arkham Batman. The Arkham Batman is what really showed off what being Batman could actually look like. We got to see combat without having different camera cuts. It was really cool. You could feel like Batman when you're playing the character. Voiced by Kevin Conroy. I love all the story of the games. The bat suits all look amazing. I'm not including all the bat suits because that would just be crazy. But just your basic Batman, he's just great. Next up, we have the Batman from the DC AMU. I think the Batsuit looks great. I think his action is great. The one thing about this Batman I'm not as big as a fan of is his voice work. A lot of his lines do kind of seem wooden and phoned in, and that could be a character choice. This Batman has a good character arc about being a father to Damian and how he works well with others in the Justice League. He's cool in each appearance that he has, but really the voice work is just something that I'm not too keen on. So he's okay. Next, we have the Batman from the Assault on Arkham film, again voiced by Kevin Conroy. He's not featured a whole lot in this film. This film is more for the Suicide Squad. This film does a solid job at doing the Suicide Squad. Batman is cool in it, but for a Batman film, Batman kind of takes the back seat. But yeah, he does the good job of being an Arkham Batman, but yeah, I think his role in this film is that he's just okay. Next, we have the Batman from the Justice League TV show, also voiced by Kevin Conroy. Yeah, no, fantastic, great Batman, automatically great. This next Batman comes from the Batman Superman Apocalypse film. Personally, I am not a big fan of the character design. He acts like Batman. The voice acting is Batman. It's really just the way the character looks. It looks kind of weird. It's the face. Yeah, he's not great in my book. Alright, next is we have the Arkham Origins Batman. This is a really solid Batman. He sounds cool. He looks really cool. His rogues gallery in the game is really cool. I think it's a good game, a good younger Batman, but the reason why for me personally it doesn't go up higher than it should be is because this is technically set in the world of Arkham, and a lot of the story and just character types that happen in that game just don't match for me. So that's why I put him in the okay. If he was just like his own game Batman, he'd be much higher. Next up, we have the Batman from the Titans TV show. Now, this is Batman. I'm not talking about Bruce Wayne. It's not great. It's just a silhouette. There's not much to say about him. Next up is the Val Kilmer Batman. I think he's fine. He's enjoyable. I think he needs work. Next, we have the Dark Knight Returns Batman. Just a phenomenal story for Batman. Having an older Batman, big giant buff, just iconic design, iconic action. I love it. Next, we have Christian Bale's Batman for the Dark Knight trilogy. Great. I mean, this is one of the most realistic portrayals of Batman that you can have. Great trilogy. Right, next up we have Terry McGinnis' Batman. He's a good Batman. What keeps him from being great is that he's not Bruce Wayne, he's his own Batman. Plus, his rogues gallery doesn't stand out as much. Adam West returns in the Return of the Caped Crusader film. Yeah, no, he's just good. They did a really good job of recreating that world. Another really good film Batman is from Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, voiced by Troy Baker. Batman's really fun, eats pizza, he fights the turtles, he fights Shredder. It's just a really fun time, really cool. And he even has the blue and gray costume, which is awesome. Next up, we have the Ben Affleck Batman. He's my personal favorite live action Batman. He just looks like the character. He has the costume, which looks fantastic. The action that's done for him is great. So yeah, for me, he's great. Next up is the Batman from the classic animated series. Some of the best Batman storytelling comes from this series. A lot of the best characters. Really solid stuff. Another great character. Next up, we have the Gotham by Gaslight Batman. I like the idea of it. He's like that classic Victorian London Batman. Looks cool, but overall, just okay. Next up, we have the Batman from Superman Red Son. Now, he doesn't have a lot of presence in that film, and because of that, I think he needs work. He has some cool scenes, but just, there's not really a whole lot about him in that film. Next up is the Batman from the Killing Joke film, voiced by Kevin Conroy, so the voice acting is great. I think this Batman is just okay. The film doesn't really do him much justice. He's cool once we get to the Killing Joke portion of the film, but it's really the first half that kind of ruins things. The next Batman we have is from Beware the Batman. I do not love his character design. He's just ugly. He looks terrible. The show itself, it's fine. It's a good show. But this design, it really brings it down. So that's not great. Next up, we have the Batman from Under the Red Hood. Just a really good story. This Batman does a really good job. It's a good costume, good voice acting, good emotional character. Really good Batman. All right, next we have the Batman from Gotham Knight, the anime anthology series, voiced by Kevin Conroy. A bunch of different character designs. They don't look amazing, so they're just okay. All right, next up we have the Batman from the Gotham TV show from the finale. Yeah, no, he looks kind of goofy, but I applaud the attempt, so he needs work, but it's fine for television, to be honest. So this next one is just personal opinion. It's the Batman from the Harley Quinn TV show. He's more comedic and falls into just the Batman stereotype. For me personally, it needs work because I'm not really the audience for that show. I get what they're going for. Personally, it's just not what I enjoy. Alright, this one's gonna be a hot topic. It's the Batman from the Lego Batman movie, or the Lego movies in general. He's just goofy. I'm not a big fan of that, so for me, needs work. Next up, we have the Batman from the Brave and the Bold. I love this series. It's a good homage to the Silver Age and Golden Age of comic books, so yeah, another good Batman. Speaking of good Batman, we have The Batman 2003 animated series. Fantastic show, unique character designs that work really well, so yeah, another good Batman. We have Batman Ninja. Interesting concept. Character designs look weird, but his Batman design looks okay. Next up, we have the Batman from Justice League Doom, one of my personal favorite animated DC animated films. Voiced by Kevin Conroy. Character design just looks fantastic. Yeah, just a really good Batman. Alright, we have the Batman from Justice League Action. This design is just okay, just like the show. There's not really much to it. It does its job. Another okay Batman is from the Batman Superman Public Enemies. It's really just the character design. It's matching the comic book art style, but it's kind of weird, but it's fun. Next up, we have Batman from the Super Friends. Yeah, no, it's outdated, so it needs work. Alright, next up we have Batman from Justice League Frontier. I like the idea that they went with that film. Him starting out more darker, but then transitioning close to the Adam West one towards the end. I'm not a big fan of the voice work, so because besides that, he's okay. Alright, next up we have George Clooney. He needs work. Again, Joel Schumacher, the weirdness that he does just doesn't work for me. Next up we have the Flashpoint Paradox Batman with Thomas Wayne. Cool character concept, cool character design. For me, it's just okay because he's not Bruce Wayne. Next up we have the Batman from Batman Year One. Just another okay one. It's a cool film. I like this Batman, but it's just kind of basic. Alright, next we have Michael Keaton's Batman. This Batman was pretty much the foundation that a lot of films copied over. Yeah, another really good Batman. Next we have the Batman from the Young Justice TV show. Another really good Batman. And the final two Batman we have here comes from the Injustice games, voiced by Kevin Conroy, rest in peace. Injustice 2 is an okay Batsuit, but Injustice 1, it just looks really weird, so he just needs work. Okay, and so that's the list that I have here. If you disagree, which there probably is, that's okay. You can make your own ranking. Like I said earlier, anything past the year 2020 that I did not include, like Robert Pattinson and Jensen Ackles, I would think that they're both good and great Batman. I also forgot to include the Batman Telltale game, but that's a good one too. If there are any other DC characters that you would like me to do a tier making video on, just let me know in the comments below. With that, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye.